Hello, welcome to the USS Hutchison, a Navy warship that is kind of in dry dock. So anyway, well, today I wanted to talk about the aft defense decks of the warship. Here we have a training and designation targeting system here. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we did get a comment in there on a particular unit, as seen on one of the videos of the comment. Okay, so it's a device, 1943, weighs about 1,000 pounds. I would say about 1,000 pounds. It's got actual stuff here on it. So it's about 1,000 pounds. It's got a unique base to it. It would fit on the actual deck of the ship with cables coming up from underneath and into it. A lot of different cables in that. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but none of these don't seem to exist anywhere else except the USS Hutchison. Now, I've taken on tours before of the USS Hutchison. I wasn't so dramatic in stating something, but I was more just giving a general view of things and what's going on. Okay, so thought today, because somebody was quite interested in what that is, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Okay, it's kind of an electromechanical computer, 1943, 1,000 pounds, and it would run as well. It does work actually. You have the 40 Bofors guns in the era of the kamikazes and aerial attacks on warships and that kind of thing, way back in the 40s. And there was a rush on to develop anti-aircraft defense systems like the Oerlikon, the Bofors, the 3-inch 50 cannon. Quite a rush, and a lot of people took advantage of that and set up factories to manufacture some of these guns. In Providence, Rhode Island, Antoine Gazda was working with Swiss Oerlikon and developing it for the U.S. Navy, called nicknamed the Gazda gun. Actually, behind me, behind this unit here, which I'll talk about shortly, is I do have an actual photograph of the factory as well as the cannon that Mr. Gazda was working on. I'll bring this out. This is the original, by the way. Let me just step over things here. It's kind of crowded right now. Still rearranging everything here. So the rush was on for anti-aircraft and defense systems. I don't know if you can see that. Where are we? Let's try and move it this way a bit. All right. So it's labeled manufactured by the Antoine Gazda Corporation, Providence, Rhode Island, 20 AA gun. And down here are smaller pictures of the factory itself. Just get up closer, maybe you can see that. Okay, well, put this aside and we'll get back to the main topic of defense systems. The British used what they call pom-poms. Also 50 caliber machine guns were used during that time in the early 40s and against the kamikazes. Certain gun sights were developed. The Mark 14 gun sight, which I have over yonder, a gyro-based system, an optical gun sight with an air supply that drives the gyros. Okay. And I do have a bunch of those along with the what they call a calibrator, the Bishop's hat it was named for calibration. But this is leading into such an area of different defense mechanisms during that period. So radar was kind of young, sonar was kind of young. And these units here, I don't know how many were made. But what it does is, well, I could actually read the tag for you from what I see to you. U.S. Army Bureau of Ordnance, okay? Target designation trans receiver. Mod 202. Mark 3, I believe. 3. Location Air Defense Aft Deck. Port. Inspector W. Oh wow, it's hard to read it sometimes. That's why I'm stalling. Date is 1943, and weight 1,000 pounds. Number Navy Yard, New York. And up here we have in mark data trans 35600 elevation 5-00. Anyway, thought I'd read the tag to you as I'm reading it. So what we have, again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I'm very new at being a curator of my own, never mind, worship. Anyway, so this device works 115 volts in, also options for DC. There's various switches here, probably to alert the main computer down inside the big warship. Big because little warships normally don't have these kind of things, computers like this. But this is a standalone computer, okay, electrical mechanical system. All that energy and all that information that you're doing here, switching around, got switches up here, and all that information goes to the commander, captain, defense group by the firing coordinators. But also, how that works is all that electrical energy goes into what they call DC amplifiers, vacuum tube systems, Selson motors, synchro motors, and a lot of other motors that line up the dials and everything to the ops room and the bridge. And how that works is you're rotating this. What you're doing is actually following. You got a handle here. You're following the incoming aircraft or other ship. So you're doing this here. You're doing all this on dials on top here. There's all kinds of dials up here, like a computer, electrical, mechanical, and you can actually track like so. Say an aircraft, but also you can fire. That sends a signal down for the both guns to fire or other artillery pieces on the ship. All uniquely quite interesting that it's all a lot of brass in here and stainless steel gearing system, synchro motors, along with the main drive motor. And below here you have fuses, a fuse box actually. And on the other side, there's access panels to the motors and gearing systems and stuff like that. So you pull this trigger here, you fire the 40 mm or 3-inch 50s or whatever artillery pieces are connected to the interconnected sympathetic type of electronic device at the time, which were a lot of vacuum tubes and synchros. Interesting technology back then, but anyway. So this is describing this briefly here and kind of making a mess of it. I am. It's got the dials up here, lights here. This is where you put your lights. I can't quite see that. Here we have a lock mechanism on this side. It'll turn around for you. Special locking device. That'd be a firing switch. You press down here. It's supposed to move, I think, but I don't think so. A little bit. Okay, now we have another one here. The locking mechanism. Excuse me, but I think it's a little stiff. locked. This fellow, again, you can't quite see it, sorry. See the firing switch. When I worked on restoring it, now it's locked. Can't move it. So I pull this out, like so, then I can move it. Now this piece up here, I believe, locks as well. Yes, it's locked. Then we have a warning here. This is off another warship, by the way, HMCS Columbia. That's a ship that I wanted to buy and save, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So we have other switches over here too. Go around this way. Full view. Binoculars here. This is switches from AC power to DC. Snap switch. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see it. Good. Well, okay, so now what else? Bring it back to this position. And when I do this, there's a dial over here that moves, showing the degrees and all that, and that would match up to the ops room computer as well. So when you move that, it sends a signal down to the synchro motors that match this exactly. Or you can just simply fire it. Goes into DC amp to the Metadyne, what they call Metadyne motor system, which actually moves the cannons fast, up and down, this way and that way. Sometimes you look at the old war movies. But the history of kamikaze, you see the boofers going like this and moving all over. So this would operate that through the magnetic amplifiers, synchro motors, mechanical engineering at its best at that time. I'm sure these days, of course, it's more modernized, but this was time in the 40s when all this stuff was quite important to save the country. So, that being said, I don't know what else I could show you today. I could do maybe 500 videos on different items, maybe more in here now, but USS Hutchison, remember to subscribe and donate too to us. And if, well, okay, so synchro motors, study that for today. Not sure what the next video will be, but I got so much different objects with history. And it's gonna go a while to do these, but anyway. Thank you for dropping by, and for tours, you can call me and I'll take you on a tour of the USS Hutchison. And we're just rearranging the communication system. It's taken a while, but it's a lot of work, and I hope that you people out there just keep on trucking. Thank you. Take care. Bye.